Hello, friends, and welcome to the Union Labor Advisory Network. I'm Mike Fina. Today, I'm proud and privileged to be with Frank Schirripa from Hach, Schirripa and Cheverie at this year's 23rd Annual Association of Benefit Administrators Annual Gala. So, Frank, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate your time. And for the viewers, just maybe tell a little bit more about your background, history, and experience, and what you've been doing for a while.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. As you know, we represent Taft-Hartley pension and welfare, health and welfare funds in securities and antitrust litigation. I'm just coming back to New York. I was in California for 7 weeks on a 7-week trial against the hospital system relating to hospital overcharges. These cases directly impact our health and welfare funds, certainly the members, if you have a copay or co-insurance type situation. It's a bench trial, so we don't know what the result of the trial is yet, but I'm confident that we did a good job and the evidence got in. So, we'll wait and see. But 7 weeks living out in Oakland, protecting members' assets, and doing what we can do to make sure the health and welfare fund dollars go a little further than they do. So that was a key thing we did this year.
Yeah, so Frank, with securities litigation, how does that work within the benefit funds? How does somebody reach out to you, or how are you engaged with when you look at a benefit fund?
On the security side, well, in both instances, we monitor the assets. So the asset's the fund, right? And with a securities fund, the pension funds, we monitor the pension fund. We look at the custodial bank records. We see what companies they've invested in and where they may have lost money, or if a company they've invested in is doing something wrong, some real corporate malfeasance. For instance, several of the drug manufacturers were heavily involved in the opioid sales. They knew or should have known that the opioid drugs were being exploited and being sold to more than just the prescribed people that should have been receiving it. So we look at that from a corporate governance standpoint and say, what did the board of directors know? Like, did they really know what was going on here? Did they have the appropriate controls in place to make sure the company was doing the right thing? Ultimately, as you're aware, several of these companies got heavy fines by the federal government. And that fined money is money that could have stayed within the fund, within the company, and either paid out in a dividend or being reinvested within the company to increase that company's profitability and ultimately increase shareholder value. So a lot of times we're looking at companies that have done wrong, companies that perhaps you purchased it. It was like an artificial inflation in the stock price, and then ultimately some bad news comes out where it turns out they were actually telling untruths about their company, and the stock price declines. And we'll go and look at that company, and if necessary, we'll sue that company and try and get back the shareholder dollars, and indirectly it's the fund value, and ultimately get money back into the fund so that those union assets, the union pension fund, can continue on. This is a pushback against corporate America. Certainly keeps companies honest, and it's us doing what we can do to protect union assets. On the drug side, same sort of situation. We look to see if your drug expenditures, drug costs, and the health and welfare fund, it's probably a bigger concern for a lot of the funds that I represent because the escalating drug costs. So we look to see, should a drug have gone generic? Should a drug, perhaps, we're involved in one case relating to generic price fixing. So generic drugs, there was a kind of a conglomerate of companies that got together, and they set some prices on a lot of popular generic drugs. And generic drugs are the ones that should be cost effective for your members to use, but here they were slowly inching that price up. So we're actively involved in that litigation to right the wrong and bring back fair and accurate drug pricing. So that's two things that we do, particularly on the stock side and then also on the health and welfare side.
And this is retainer, right? There's no upfront cost that they're brought onto the funds, and anything else is based on monitoring and then
correct.
Things work.
Our service is a free service, so we monitor both the drug purchase, drug utilization for free. We monitor your pension fund for free, or if you have an annuity fund, if you're able to have an annuity fund in your particular local, and there's no cost. We're an added fiduciary layer. We'll come in at no cost to the fund, take a look at what you've invested in, take a look at what drugs you've purchased. If we determine that there is an opportunity for you to try to recover some overcharges or recover on a company that has perhaps decreased in value, which shouldn't have, We notify the board by letter, by telephone, let them know this is an opportunity for you to get involved in a recovery opportunity. And then if the board decides to go forward with a case, we'll bring litigation. If we're appointed lead and we continue on with the litigation and we're successful, we'll apply to the court for compensation to get paid. But never is the fund directly paying for our legal services. Gotcha. So it's, in all intents and purposes, a cost-free service to the fund.
That's incredible. That's great. And you do such great work, and again, I'm proud to have you as a friend, sponsor, and just know you in the industry, doing a lot of great work with a lot of different, labor organizations within, we're here in New York today, so we know a lot of New York locals.
Right.
But again, appreciate all that you do for labor, and proud to have you here tonight, and just thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure.
You got it, buddy.
Bye.
I'd like to thank all our sponsors for helping to build and promote the ULA Network. It is because of you that we're able to support, educate, and promote informative content relevant to labor. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel and media. I'd like to thank you all for your support.